Thank you for joining us tonight. You're now with me, Cheryl Chamiato for TVS Nightline. We begin with the headlines tonight. The government will not arbitrarily open the country's borders to foreign travellers. Thereby, 6 factors are to be considered before foreign travellers can be granted entry to Malaysia.
Antara yang kita nilai, yang kita membuat penilaian risiko ni, antara 6 perkara yang kita jadikan panduan kita. Yang pertama, di negara pengemara tersebut, bilangan kes COVID dalam tempoh 14 hari kebelakangan. Berapa banyak jumlah kes. Yang kedua, kadar insiden per 1 juta penduduk dalam tempoh 14 hari. Yang ketiga, kadar kematian 14 hari kebelakangan per 1 juta penduduk. Yang keempat, kadar kematian kes kumulatif. Yang keenam, indeks pemulihan. Dan kelima, yang keenam, kes kumulatif COVID-19 melebihi 150,000 kes.
Ismail Sabri pointed out, as of now, the government only allowed those who were fully vaccinated to enter the country. But the borders are still closed for tourists, which also depends on the COVID-19 situation from the inbound travellers' country.
Sebenarnya memang kalau kita lihat dari segi sejarahnya, ya, walaupun kita membuka pintu negara kita kepada warga asing untuk masuk, tetapi perkembangan di negara asal pengembara tersebut juga diambil kira. Setiap tindakan yang dilakukan oleh pihak kerajaan, kita akan mendapat pandangan dan juga cadangan daripada Kementerian Kesihatan yang membuat penilaian risiko. Sebenarnya kita tidak membuka sewenang-wenangnya.
However, he said the permission for entry is subject to the Standard Operating Procedures or SOP and other terms and conditions, including undergoing mandatory quarantine at designated locations to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Earlier on August 12, the government has started allowing fully vaccinated citizen and non-citizen travellers to apply to undergo the mandatory quarantine at home.
Secara keseluruhannya, pihak kerajaan telah melakukan pelbagai persediaan serta kelonggaran yang diberikan dibuat secara berhati-hati dengan mengambil kira perkembangan di seluruh dunia dan juga keutamaan untuk pemulihan ekonomi.
And now on to the next update. Malaysia's estimated losses in tourist expenditure are set to rise further to 165 billion ringgit this year from about 135 billion ringgit in 2020. Due to the implementation of the various movement control order, the tourism sector had faced over 12 months of little or no business as well as job losses.
Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri said before the borders reopen, it is important to be prepared with a recovery plan and re-strategize in order to gain a competitive edge for the tourism industry. She said that market insights predict that once borders are reopened, the focus of tourists will be on closer-to-home destinations. The minister said Malaysia is now preparing to open Langkawi for international tourist arrivals soon following the success of the Langkawi domestic travel bubble. The Langkawi domestic travel bubble has been a success since it began on September 16, 2021, with a total of 38,748 domestic tourist arrivals and 15.97 million ringgit in tourism receipts recorded.
Now Samsung Engineering, a leading company known worldwide, will develop a green hydrogen and ammonia project in Bintulu, dubbed the H2Biscus project. The project will serve as a collaboration of international standing for renewable energy trading and hydrogen transportation between South Korea and Malaysia, establishing hydrogen-related standards for the two countries.
President and Chief Executive Officer Sungan Choi said the pre-feasibility study is completed and the feasibility study is expected to start this year. On the other hand, the project aims to produce green hydrogen, green and blue ammonia, green methanol, and carbon capture and utilization (CCU). The contracts for the front-end engineering design or FEED and engineering, procurement and construction (EPC) are scheduled to be awarded in the following year. The Sarawak H2Biscus Green Hydrogen and Ammonia project will be sponsored and developed by the POSCO, Lot Chemical, Sarawak Economic Development Corporation or SEDC through its subsidiary SEDC Energy and a Samsung Engineering Consortium. Currently, Samsung Engineering is executing the Sarawak Petchem Methanol Plant project in Bintulu, which is expected to produce 5,000 tons per day of methanol. On Wednesday, Samsung Engineering had an online engagement session yesterday with Sarawak Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg and Deputy Chief Minister Datuk Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan to gain insights into the projects and their benefits for both South Korea and Sarawak.
The government is implementing a high-level water reservoir project in Matang. It involves the construction of the mid-level with a capacity of 100 millimeters and the upper level of a 9 millimeter capacity. In addition, work is also being carried out to upgrade the booster pump station at the water treatment plant in Matang and Batu Kitang, the piping system and any related works.
Projek-projek penggalan air yang dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan adalah untuk memberi manfaat yang bermakna untuk rakyat. Projek takungan air aras tinggi ini di Matang ini dan pemasangan pipe ini melibatkan pembinaan dan penyiapan takungan air mid level dengan kapasiti 100 ml. Boleh kan? Takungan air di upper level nombor 2 dengan kapasiti 9 ml, 9 million liters. Naik taraf stesen pump penggalak di Matang dan Batu Kitang, WTP. Sistem pepaipan dan kerja-kerja yang berkaitan dengan. Projek ini telah dirancang dengan teliti bagi menampung permintaan bekalan air semakin meningkat di bahagian Kuching. Khususnya di kawasan Kuching Utara.
Meanwhile, 24 individuals had received land compensation worth 19.165 million ringgit in order to allow the implementation of the project. As such, the government has spent a total of 24.6 million ringgit for the land acquisition involving the project itself.
Saya ucapkan terima kasih kerajaan Sarawak lah kerana memberi papasan yang setimpalnya.
Ya, terima kasih yang kita dapat kami.
On the other hand, it was no romance for a local man in his 30s who ran amok and assaulted a waitress of an eatery in Pending, Kuching, which resulted to him being arrested. The 20-second CCTV footage that went viral on social media caused an uproar among users in social media. The footage depicted a man chasing down the victim before pinning her down to the ground and throwing a few punches.
Kuching District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Asmon Baja said acting from the received, the suspect was arrested by a team of police from the district headquarters. Asmon revealed that initial investigation found the gruesome act was a result of misunderstanding between both the suspect and victim, who appeared to be a couple. The victim did not suffer any injury. The case is being investigated under Section 323 of the Penal Code, where if found guilty shall be punished with imprisonment for up to 1 year and fine, or both.
And now on to the next development. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, is gearing up to welcome foreign tourists, including those from West Asia, to a COVID-19 safe environment, said its Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri.
Nancy said the ministry is committed to improving the accessibility of tourists to the country once the international borders reopen. The statement followed Nancy's meeting with management representatives and sales agencies of 4 international airlines in West Asia in an effort to establish cooperation to promote Malaysia as a preferred tourist destination. The 4 airlines are Qatar Airways, Saudi Arabian Airlines, Air Arabia, and Emirates Airlines. Among other matters discussed at the meeting were strategies and plans to promote Malaysia to attract international tourists from other markets such as Europe, America, and Africa through their respective airline networks.
Servis Sarawak merupakan model penyampaian perkhidmatan baru kerajaan negeri dalam usaha untuk menyampaikan perkhidmatan cemerlang kepada rakyat Sarawak. Ia telah dirasmikan oleh Ketua Menteri Sarawak Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg pada 2 Disember 2018. Setakat ini, 3 pusat perkhidmatan servis Sarawak telah dilaksanakan iaitu di Kuching, Sibu dan Miri. Kepelbagaian saluran perkhidmatan seperti khidmat kaunter, portal rasmi, aplikasi telefon pintar dan e-kios memudahkan rakyat dalam membuat pilihan pembayaran. Servis Sarawak ini berkonsepkan No Wrong Counter yang menawarkan gabungan perkhidmatan pelbagai agensi di Sarawak dalam sesebuah kaunter perkhidmatan. Berteraskan mesra pelanggan, servis Sarawak diharapkan dapat menjadi saluran perkhidmatan yang mampu memenuhi kehendak serta keperluan rakyat di Sarawak.
欢迎来到家有大厨，我是 Christy，
我是 Bryce，
跟我们一起与不同的厨师学习如何烹饪多元种族的美味健康佳肴。
从菜巴萨到餐桌前，在这一集中，我们将与厨师 Sam 一起烹饪美味佳肴，
千万别错过哟！
Kepada sesiapa yang ada cinta misteri, sila hantar cerita anda ke misteri kedai gunting @TVSTVMY.
Welcome back to the Nightline with the COVID-19 development. The 9,890 cases reported nationwide today marks the 5th day that Malaysia reported COVID-19 infections below the 10,000 mark. As of today, the cumulative cases now stands at 2,317,727. Sarawak recorded the highest at 1,413 cases, followed by Selangor at 1,402 and Kelantan with 1,032.
In Sarawak, Kuching district remained the highest with 387 cases recorded, followed by Miri with 193 cases and Sibu 131 cases. Sarawak recorded 20 COVID-19 fatalities between September 7 and October 6, where all of the cases had comorbidities. Of the 20 deaths, 6 cases were brought in dead. The total death toll in the state now stands at 961. The state active clusters is declining as more clusters ended and no new clusters were reported today. The ended clusters are Tembok Sri Aman cluster at Sri Aman, Telok Batu cluster at Meradong, Sungai Segan cluster at Bintulu, and Suchong Balut cluster at Julau. There are now 89 active clusters in the state, with 10 of them reported 55 new COVID-19 infections. Meanwhile, with the total COVID-19 infections reported today, bringing the cumulative cases to 221,042 infections. the government will not make it mandatory for people to obtain COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said the booster shots will be offered to groups deemed to be high risk, but it will not be compulsory. Khairi added that his ministry discovered there is a waning immune response from the vaccines that have been given. He also said that a person's vaccination status will not be affected if they do not get the booster shots. Malaysia has started giving out booster jabs this month, with the initiative kicking off in Sarawak.
Meanwhile, the usage of the periodic saliva RTK-AG self-test kit to be used only on students who have certain symptoms associated with COVID-19. Ministry of Education MOE said the self-test kit is not periodically done in ordinary daily schools. Unlike in boarding schools, where multiple screening tests will be carried out, that is on the registration day, the 6th day, and on the 14th day.
Untuk sekolah harian, kita akan laksanakannya sekiranya murid ketika berada di sekolah menunjukkan gejala. Kalau ada, kita tak tetapkan berapa kali seminggu, tapi kalau ada murid pagi dia sampai ke sekolah sihat, tapi waktu berada di sekolah ada gejala, kita akan gunakan test kit ini untuk murid tersebut bagi kita asingkan mereka lebih awal. Kita asingkan mereka dan kita laksanakan test, jadi kita tahu keadaan murid ini bagaimana sebelum kita mengambil tindakan selanjutnya. Berkaitan dengan sekiranya ada kes COVID-19 di sekolah, ini saya telah jelaskan bahawa kita telah berbincang dengan Kementerian Kesihatan dan kami bersetuju supaya sekiranya ada sebarang kes positif di sekolah, kita akan rujuk kepada pejabat kesihatan daerah dan pejabat kesihatan daerah akan menasihatkan pihak kementerian atau pihak sekolah tentang apakah pendekatan yang akan
In addition, MOE also decided that only the periodic saliva RTK-AG self-test kit will be considered, as the use of this kit is easier and safer for students. And now on to the next highlight. Micro and informal business operators are given the appropriate assistance by the government to recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The informal sector refers to enterprises that are not registered with the Companies Commission of Malaysia or any professional body, including the local authority. Through Tekun Nasional, it provides the informal financing scheme in an effort to help informal sector entrepreneurs affected by the pandemic, with financing of up to 10,000 ringgit without interest.
Melalui skim ini, melalui Tekun Nasional, sehingga 1 Oktober 2021, sebanyak 2,197 usahawan informal, sebagaimana yang berhormat sebut tadi, telah diberi kelulusan sebanyak 14.1 juta ringgit.
Muslimin Yahya added the government has also simplified the funding application process by reducing the number of required document copies. Apart from that, the approval is also expedited from 14 days to 7 working days, and the disbursement will be issued within 2 days after signing the letter of agreement to receive the funding. The government has no plan to propose any form of new tax to be imposed on e-commerce activities. Instead, the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia are encouraging more participation in such activities.
Its Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the taxation policy is under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Finance. He said that any tax-related policy usually will be announced in the annual budget session. Meanwhile, Anwar said the government's main focus now is to ensure the country's broadband connectivity could reach 100%. He said that these development efforts will eventually encourage youth participation in the digital economy. There have also been other programs to expand these efforts to rural areas. There are the e-commerce campaign for micro, small and medium enterprises, which reportedly benefited 204,262 participants.
We move on to the next update. A total of 392 positive COVID-19 cases involving variants of concern (VOC) was detected in the country from September 25 until yesterday. According to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, of the total, he said 384 cases were of the Delta variant and 8 others were of the Beta variant.
The study on the spike protein COVID-19 mutation in Malaysia was conducted by 6 consortia, namely UKM Medical Molecular Biology Institute, University Malaya Medical Faculty, University Technology Mara Integrative Pharmacogenomics Institute, Tropical Infectious Disease Research and Education Centre, Malaysia Genome Institute, and Institute for Medical Research. Commenting further, he said the latest development brought the cumulative number of cases categorized as VOC and variant under monitoring VUM to 2,252 cases. Dr. Noor Hisham said of the 2,252 cases detected, a total of 2,232 cases were VOC and 20 others were variants of interest. Overall, there are 1,996 Delta variant cases, 222 Beta variant cases, and 14 Alpha variant cases are in the VOC category. The World Health Organization has on September 30th listed Theta, Kappa, and Eta under the VUM. Previously, all 3 were categorized as VOI. As of now, only Lambda and Mu are categorized as VOI.
Now, following the announcement that the government, through the Ministry of Health, MOH, earlier today signed a letter of undertaking to purchase the antiviral drug molnupiravir as an additional choice in the innovative treatment against COVID-19. It was also announced that the antiviral drug will be given free of charge to COVID-19 patients who are symptomatic for at least 5 days, or Category 3, 4 and 5 patients.
Ini dibuat kerana walaupun kadar vaksinasi kita sangat tinggi, 90% daripada dewasa akan menerima lengkap vaksin, tetapi kita juga telah membeli pil ini memandangkan masih lagi berlaku breakthrough infection. Maksudnya walaupun kita dah lengkap divaksinasi, ada beberapa kes jangkitan. Yang kedua, ada kes jangkitan yang kategori 3, 4, 5 yang perlu dimasukkan ke hospital. Bagi pil antiviral ini, ia diberi kepada mereka yang bergejala selama 5 hari dan kemungkinan besar juga kepada mereka yang kategori 3, 4 dan 5.
Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said although the adult population full vaccination rate was now close to 90%, the Health Ministry, or MOH, finds that COVID-19 infections were still occurring. Through the agreement with American multinational pharmaceutical company Merck, Sharp and Dome, the government agreed to procure 150,000 complete treatment packages to treat COVID-19 patients. Molnupiravir is also proven to be effective against the more aggressive COVID-19 variants such as Gamma, Delta and Mu.
The Dewan Rakyat today passed the motion on the 12th Malaysia Plan, the country's development roadmap for 2021 to 2025.
Dewan Rakyat Speaker Dato' Azhar Azizan Harun said the motion was approved after witnessing more voice in support than against it. The motion had been debated for 4 days beginning September 28 by 106 members of parliament, followed by the winding-up sessions by the 27 ministries involved. Among the matters raised in the debate sessions were issues related to health, COVID-19 vaccines, development of Sabah and Sarawak, poverty, impacts of COVID-19, and national water supply management. On September 27, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob tabled the 12th MP, which will set out the country's development agenda for the next 5 years. According to the Dewan Rakyat sitting calendar, Monday's meeting will continue with the Minister's question time, question and answer session, bills and other government matters. The Dewan Rakyat sitting continues on Monday.
Untuk segmen Nang Nyaman, kita akan ke Coffee Zone. Raun lok ke premis penginapan di Akasha. Singgahlah dekat Big Boss Burgers, burger patty yang dipolah oleh Encik Fadilah dan Puan Ana Tok. Nang nyaman 2 kali Yusuf Madah dan Bisotok. Bersama kami Yusuf dalam rancangan Keringat Usahawan.
Saya dan YB Timbalan Menteri dah kayuh bersikal sejauh 20 km. Anda bila lagi? Hari Sukan Negara dah dekat ni. Jangan tunggu lagi. Jom. Jom YB, kita kayuh balik. Sambung lagi. Sambung lagi. Mari semua. Alright.
Thank you for staying with me. Now on to the next development. National Moto2 rider Hafiz Shahrin Abdullah announced that he may withdraw from the World Motorcycle Championship next season due to several factors. The NTSRW Racing GP rider highlighted financial restrictions as one of the reasons, stating that he would have to personally fork out a sizable amount to join a team. According to Hafiz, most European teams require riders to bring in their own money, in which he is strongly against. In a video clip shared with the local media today, he said the financial commitment would not be worth it, as he may lose everything if he could not achieve the performance he targeted. He reiterated that it is a risky investment, especially if he is unable to get the best bike possible, which would affect his performance. However, the former MotoGP rider with Team Monster Yamaha Tech 3 said he will not hold any party responsible for the decision he will make. Hafiz had recently hinted via his Instagram account that he was ready to end his career after competing in the World Motorcycle Championship since 2014. Nestlé is producing plant-based substitutes for egg and shrimp that closely mirror the taste, nutrition and performance of the originals. The food group said they are extending its range in the East-growing vegan market. The egg substitute, branded Garden Gourmet Veggie in Europe, contains soy protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Nestlé said it can be scrambled or used in a frittata or as an ingredient in cakes and cookies. The vegan shrimp called Vrimp follows the launch of its tuna substitute last year. Nestlé had developed the new products in less than a year, using, for example, its plant science expertise to engineer pea protein that did not have the taste of the legume. The two products will initially have a limited launch in some European markets, including Switzerland. Nestlé launched its first plant-based burgers in 2019, about 3 years later than U.S. industry pioneers Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. However, the company said it believed its products would do better than other products on the market based on taste, texture, and nutrition. Last year, Nestlé sales from plant-based products were just $216 million. And that announcement concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. And as always, thank you for tuning in to your local news tonight. Here with me, Shosha Metro, and I'll see you next time. Have a good morning.